Autumn time again in the Solent, and the leaves are turning and the vines, they're full. It's the sign of a good year for our region's wine growers.
We've had a good summer, nice harvesting weather, and we should be harvesting in the next few days. Obviously with sparkling wine, it's going to be 3 years before we sell any of the stuff we're harvesting this year, but it's our standard Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier grapes, which will be transformed into our Rosé and our Premier and Classic Cuvée.
But the future could be very different, where global warming and Brexit are facing both the selling to the continent and the migrant labour force from our neighbouring countries coming here to pick our grapes.
There are 20,000 vines out in that particular field, so gosh, that's 8 tons. It's going to take us about 4 days to pick that with maybe 100 people, and most of them come from our European counterpart countries, so that's a disadvantage for us in the Brexit equation.
So what's involved in the process from field to get to our table?
We squeeze them and get the juice out, and then we throw away the pomace, and then we add yeast into the wine tanks, ferments for about 2 weeks. Makes a still base wine, but it's very acidic and very lean, and then we blend those, a bit like cooking a sauce in a kitchen, but a bit more complicated maybe, and then we bottle it into a thick, like a champagne bottle, and we add a bit of yeast and sugar at bottling, and then we leave it for 3 years in the bottle, so it does a second fermentation in the bottle. It gets up to 4.5 bar pressure, 55 million bubbles in a bottle, per bottle, not in Prosecco, but in the sparkling wine, proper sparkling wine. And then we have to turn it upside down, sort of. It's a little bit more complicated than that. To get the yeast down into the neck, we freeze the neck. We take out the dirty plug of yeast, we top it up with a bit of wine and put a cork in and send it off to market.
The impact of climate change is having a worrying impact on agriculture around the world, but wine growers here says it's not a bad thing for their business.
We've had very good weather. We've had a great August, best August for probably 5 years in the UK, so we've got plenty of fruit out there. We're going to get maybe 150 tonnes of grapes. A bit of frost at the beginning of the season, which was challenging, and we've had a bit of what's called milrondage, where the flowers don't quite set properly, so we get some tiny little but very sweet berries and then some normal sized berries. So in combination it looks like it should be a good year.
Recent warm summers have been great news for Solent winemakers, but the industry already so much at the mercy of the weather, the clouds of Brexit risks adding yet more uncertainty. Jason Rushworth for That Solent.